And Tatum, Felicia Knox, the straw that stirs the drink.
She is. She has 11 assists so far this year. Not 11 in her career, 11 this season. She's one of those players who just gets it. She looks different. She sees the game so well. She'll dribble at players. Keep an eye on her.
All right, we talk about Georgia with that depth, 15 different goal scorers. Madison Haugen had a tremendous game, Tatum, down in Gainesville.
That's right. She had 2 assists down there in good old Gainesville. She gets into the attack so well. She's so difficult to defend. You will see her up and down the flank all day long.
Now here we go, one of the most highly anticipated games. It is a beautiful night here in Athens because of the weather. The game moved up, originally scheduled for last night, so Alabama coming over yesterday. And Wes Hart, who's done an excellent job at the Alabama helm, this is Bama's best team ever. Now, Tatum used to coach at Alabama. They've only been to the NCAA tournament 4 times in their history, and now here they are, ranked 5th in the country, leading the SEC, and immediately on the attack, it's Sarepka who serves that one out on the right side, trying to get it out to Parker. Just so many different standouts here for Alabama trying to defend the Tide. You feel like it's a pick your poison.
That's right. This team is loaded. As we were talking to Wes Hart and going through,
oh, boy, an early chance here for Bama, a second early chance here for Bama. And the Dogs at least momentarily dodge a bullet, but the Tide right back at it with Jessica Skorka. And Knox able to touch that one. Danny Murguia getting down on the defensive end. And Tatum Bama very close to a goal, less than a minute in there.
Listen, they're going to high pressure. They're going to defend. They're going to try to win the ball back as quick as you can. They are going to feel like it is 13, 14 players on the field because of their high energy and the way that they have trained and the way that they play.
But 2 tremendous coaches here in Wes Hart and Kadani McAlpine, and one of the things that Wes talked about was both of these teams like to force the action and try and score. There's no laying back. This could be one of the most entertaining games of the year in the league as Mally McKenzie races down the left side for the Bulldogs. A centering pass there, and Georgia with an early look. And how about this start?
We're 2 minutes into the game. We talked about what an exciting game this is going to be, but did we really think that we were going to have a big goal by Georgia's goalkeeper Beardsley and then come back down and did it skim the post? At this angle you can't see as well, but definitely an opportunity on both ends 2 minutes into the game.
Usually first 5 in, Tatum's having a coffee and a little pasta there, relaxed. High octane out of the gates. Here's Haugen.
My neck hurts already.
Terrific start. It's not going to be Haugen who serves that in. Danny Murguia, number 4. Certainly keep an eye on her as Boyan serves that one right into number 12, Riley Tanner.
And, great story about Riley Tanner. There's 2 starters here for this Alabama team that have transferred, and I like to hear it, especially from Coach Wes Hart. He recruited these kids. He recruited Tanner as well as Skorka. No, I apologize. Sarepka. Both of them went and played elsewhere. And you never want to burn bridges.
Right.
And now they're both back on his roster in this banner year that they are having.
Ashlyn Sarepka, Virginia transfer, had 5 goals for UVA. Very good player. As the Tide will try and push it down on the attack again, but Georgia with a freshman, Kate Harden, will win possession at least momentarily. Now, Captain Obvious here, every team wants to protect the ball and possess the ball, and that is at the top of the list for both the Bulldogs and Alabama. So this one served out near midfield.
However, I think these two teams are going to try to figure out who can high pressure the longest, the quickest, the smartest.
Well, we mentioned, too, for Georgia, the road wins at Florida and Texas A&M. How about Alabama just taking down an incredible schedule, top 10 wins against BYU and South Carolina, and their SEC wins against the Gamecocks, Tennessee, and A&M. That's why that RPI is in the top 10 as well as the rankings. Oh, boy, Alabama. An opening here for the Crimson Tide. Bama with numbers. And Beardsley will come up and save it. That was a missed opportunity there for the Tide.
It was. Numbers up, heading into the box. Morgan Hart was able to just get one little toe poke there, which allowed Riley Tanner to mistouch it, which was then allowed Beardsley to come out and get it. Just that one little touch there disrupted the attack enough.
And we've just barely mentioned Riley Mattingly Parker. Riley Parker now has gotten married, 9 goals. She's tied for 6th in the country, 17 in her career. And just weapons everywhere. A header there from Macy Clem. Off the heel there from the aforementioned Parker. Haugen trying to give chase. Beardsley will field it for Georgia. Alabama also likes for the keeper, McKinley Crone, to get in the attack on the back end. Here's Abby Boyen for Georgia, making her 83rd career start out of Spring Lake, New Jersey. Sarepka for Bama, twisting a bit. Back out wide on the left side. Riley Tanner wears number 12 for Alabama. We've actually got Reyes back on the defending end now, and that was when we were going through the notes and watching some of the games. Reyna Reyes, number 16, has 5 goals, but she plays on the back end. How in the world is that even possible? They're just getting it from everywhere.
Sure. And they get into the attack. Their outside backs get into the attack. You'll see Riley Tanner. She's a lefty player, so she'll pop out a bit of the diamond, and then it allows her and Reyna Reyes to combine and get Reyna into the attack.
There's Crone. And here comes Alabama with number 2, Macy Clem. We're just over 5 minutes in. A lot of action, scoreless, very early here tonight in Athens.
You know, as much as these two programs play very similar, they both like to high pressure. They both are very technical, tactical programs. Keep the ball on the ground, combine, get into the attack. They're very different. You have a first-year coaching staff with Georgia. You have an 8th-year coaching staff with Wes Hart. And not only that, but this Alabama team is extremely old, right? And you don't want to say old, that's not really the right terminology, but they are extremely experienced. And there's some experience on this Georgia team as well, but this Alabama team is loaded.
And speaking of experience, here's the graduate, Danny Murguia, trying to serve that one up for Joyelle Washington, and a great play on the back end by number 6, Sasha Pickard, making her 50th career start. Pickard stepping right in.
Coach Wes Hart described her as an animal. Difficult to just beat.
The tenacity. And Bama doing this, Wes Hart, it's not like there are a ton of 5-stars out here. They go around the country and they have found players that fit the system. And last year, Alabama's Tatum mentioned making just its 4th ever NCAA tournament appearance. They won their first ever NCAA tournament game a year ago. And now to be sitting up at number 5 in the country. Tatum, when you were at Alabama, they had been going through just a terrible stretch of success.
Oh, absolutely. Here's the deal with this job at Alabama. It's a tough job. Wes Hart is definitely the right man for the job. He is having to recruit nationally. You have to. It is very difficult to get a Georgia kid out of the state of Georgia. Number 1, due to Hope, Zell, and due to them growing up Georgia fans, right?
Here's
so you've got to
Parker.
go and you've got to find that kid that fits into your system.
As Beardsley will chase this one. Boy, Tanner stepping up, and Beardsley with a nice save. You know, talking about getting to the NCAA tournament, they struggled even getting to the SEC tournament.
That's right. I think back in 08-09 when I first got there with Coach Todd Bramble, they hadn't been to the SEC tournament in over, I think it was 9 years. They got back to the NCAA tournament. I think we went in 2013.
Here's Bama with another opportunity, just charging in. That one going to sail wide, and there they are, throwing those defenders, Tatum, into the attack.
And there she is, Reyna Reyes. You better watch her.
Wow.
She's up the field. She just combined, like I talked about earlier, with Riley Tanner, who is playing on the outside of the diamond, and she's extremely frustrated with herself with that opportunity that she just had.
So a couple of bullets dodged here for the Bulldogs. Beardsley in the Georgia blue will boot this one away. Not quite to midfield. There's a header from Millie Filson, a freshman for Georgia. That's her specialty there. And a heads-up play by Skorka.
And that's what Georgia needs her to do. She's going to have to win those balls in the middle. She's going to have to win those 1v1 balls. The way that Alabama is able to just keep the ball, to combine, to move the ball, they're going to have to win some 1v1 battles.
Now here's Cecily Stout making her 80th career start. Millie Filson, freshman from Gainesville, Georgia, through traffic. Ellie Gilbert has been playing very well for these Bulldogs. Madison Haugen. Georgia on the far right side with Boy, and Joyelle Washington had Georgia's first goal down in Gainesville, trying to serve this one out. Nice job by Brooke Steer of Alabama on the back end, and the Tide can flip the field so quickly. Here comes Alabama on the attack. Nice little touch there from Knox. Great skills that Tatum was talking about earlier. A long run for Alabama down the right side with number 19, Ashlyn Sarepka. No score, Georgia and Bama, but a lot of action, 9.5 minutes in. Steer in the offensive attack. Sarepka again. Nice play by Boyan of Georgia, back for Filson. Reyes. And Tatum mentioned this earlier. By the way, when Alabama goes to the bench, they bring in Gianna Paul, who's got 4 goals and 3 assists. You just can't catch your breath against the Crimson Tide.
No, and what I like that Coach Hart said is, they bring her in off the bench to provide a spark. Does she deserve to be in the starting lineup? Yes. Do most female soccer players want to be in the starting lineup? Yes. Do most female soccer players want to play 90 minutes? Yes. However, she comes in and provides something that this program has not had. So she's able to kind of take it up a different level with her athleticism. If the other team's, not respecting them and playing high, then they can start dumping the ball in behind the back line for Paul to run onto. And the last 4 or 5 years, Alabama hasn't been able to do that.
Tate, I've been impressed with Reyes and Pickard. We talk about the offensive numbers, very good on that left side on the back end, along with the tremendous goal scoring this year, 4th best in the NCAA. Alabama's also recorded 7 shutouts. So that's a good formula in sports when you score a lot and don't give up much.
Correct.
That one is across the board. That'll work. That'll work. Now these Bulldogs coming in at 8-3, those road wins, and Georgia looking for a signature home victory here tonight. Kadani McAlpine, 10 straight NCAA tournaments, 2 at Washington State, 8 at Southern Cal, including that 2016 national championship. McKenzie for Georgia, Skorka for Alabama. Chester there coming out from number 29 for the Bulldogs, Morgan Hart.
Because here's the thing, if you're Georgia and you're sitting in the 30s, RPI maybe in the 40s, you play it.
Oh, Parker might have a crack at this one. Georgia quickly converges in a whistle.
Ooh. Whew. It had a Georgia bounce on it for sure, but Parker was not done. She was going to be patient, and she was going to wait her turn to have an opportunity. I'm not so sure that was a foul. I need to see the replay here because I feel like Ellie Gilbert was able to get around and just get a touch on the ball.
All right, well, it is time for Riley Parker.
I'm not so sure.
Huge moment in this game.
Foul,
graduate from Flower Mound, Texas. 6th in the nation with 9 goals this year.
Felicia Knox, this is where she is extremely dangerous.
Now Bama, it's going to be Tanner. Now Knox taking the shot. It's knocked out of there. Oh, this one's floating up. There's Beardsley again. Georgia and Alabama, no score. That was well defended by the Bull. Are you surprised Parker didn't take that?
No, not from that area. Felicia Knox is your kind of finesse kid. I'm assuming they had something planned there. I'm not sure if it went through with their plan. The way that she hit it on the ground there at the wall, I don't know if they were looking to play into Parker's feet. Not really sure what the plan was there.
Boy, it has that one.
But Parker's a little bit better on the other side of it. So Felicia Knox looked to play into Parker to then finish, not necessarily sitting on a dead ball set piece.
I can see with a couple of shots behind the 2 benches over there, the wind.
The trees.
Significant today, really blowing the trees around. And here's Crone on the back end, wearing the black. What a boot that was. And a whistle.
And that's what Coach Wes Hart talked about as well as Crone. Is she the best goalkeeper in the country to make that big time save? Not necessarily. Is she good? Yes, but what he really likes about her is just how vocal she is, how mature she is. They can use her when they're building, and she's so steady and consistent. This is her 6th year playing college soccer. She played 3 years at Oklahoma, and this is now her 3rd year at Alabama. So just to have that type of maturity on your back, in your goal, is what has really helped propel this back line of Alabama.
All right, here's number 10, Riley Parker. Cecily Stout stepping in front, the All-SEC defender with a nifty play, and the Bulldogs will turn it back with Morgan Hart. Now to Ellie Gilbert and out to Boyan. What a game. Joelle Washington.
We're just 15 minutes in.
Great
Is this going to be
start.
like a 7-6?
Be great. Here's Murguia. Beautiful pass. Washington has it tipped away. Alabama converging so quickly.
Now this is where you have to watch Alabama. They are so quick on the transition.
Kate Henderson, number 17, another outstanding player with 3 goals this year. She had 5 a year ago. Sarepka now will work it back to Pickard. On the near side, Skorka through traffic. Skorka down the right side. Gets it right back from Henderson. Skorka trying to get it to Parker. Parker with the freshman Harden chasing her. Down the right side. This one's going to go out of bounds.
And for Georgia, that's a win, because when Alabama starts getting the combination play like they were just doing, when they start getting multiple numbers in the box, they are very, very difficult to defend. And for them to be able to defend in that way, for the ball to go out of bounds and not have a real opportunity, that's a win for Georgia.
And there you see Kadani McAlpine. Tatum called it riding the Kadani wave. And just a lot of energy here. Doing a great job recruiting. He inherited a talented team, added a couple of pieces through the transfer portal. And I think one of the things that has gone over very well here, there wasn't the, well, you know, in 2 or 3 years, give us some time. Immediately his expectations for Georgia to make the NCAA tournament. That's all he's known as a head coach. Yeah.
Now with this transfer portal, you can now make a significant difference in year 1.
Here's Parker. Skorka. Bama's had a couple of early chances. Crimson Tide with Brooke Steer, number 3. Washington giving chase for Georgia. Tide going backwards with Pickard. And now here's Reyes again, front of the attack. And here's Georgia taking it away. What a season Madison Haugen having for Georgia. Top 5 in the SEC in assist. Boy, that is nifty by number 12, Tanner. Haugen and Tanner. Henderson. That one's loose. Georgia. Stout. Let's see if she can press it forward, dashing down the left side. Stout going back towards the middle. Trying to boom a long one out for Danny Murguia. It's a foot race. Reyes will win it for the Crimson Tide. And does a great job with the wall off there.
Yeah, that's kind of the situation you're going to see Alabama play when you see Gianna Paul in. Unfortunately, Georgia doesn't have that type of kid. It's going to be tough for Georgia if they're just trying to dump it in over the top to get any significant outcome out of that because of how strong Alabama's backline is. Georgia's going to have to continue to possess, get it out wide, and then throw the ball into the box. Playing over the backline of Alabama is not where their kind of bread and butter is, and it's going to be real tough to do it today.
Here's Bama coming back on the attack. Tanner and Clem on that left side. Parker serving it out wide.
You realize that ball that Felicia Knox just played first time just dropped right there on Henderson's chest, right?
Tremendous touch.
First ball, she sees it. She sees Henderson wide open. She knows exactly where to drop it, and off Henderson goes. This is where you're going to watch Parker. This is the time to watch Parker in the air, the way she reads the service coming in. Now, could hurt Alabama a little bit this wind. If there's a 15, 20-mile-an-hour gust that comes through here, that could act as a defender for Georgia. But Alabama is extremely dangerous on these set pieces, especially on a corner.
And it's going to be Knox to serve it in. The 11 assists, leading the NCAA, 16 in her career. She has just exploded this year. 5'5" junior from Kansas City, Missouri. Knox serving it up from the corner. Header. Georgia trying to withstand another Crimson Tide assault.
And Georgia's got to be careful because Alabama works really well on that second opportunity. So when the ball's initially cleared, Alabama is looking. No one is leaving. No one is putting their head down. They're looking for that second opportunity to drop it back in the box when Georgia's not paying attention. And just then could have been dangerous if the right ball was played in.
It'll be Felicia Knox now from the other corner. 26 minutes to play here in the first half. No score, Georgia and Alabama. A lot of action. Here's Knox. That one with a little spin on it there. Loose out in front. Bama knock it on the door. The Dogs dodge a bullet.
It's not over.
For now. Beardsley can't make this save, and Alabama is on the board.
And there you have it, that second and third opportunity off those set pieces. Alabama's going to continue to attack, and that's what happened. Georgia got the initial clearance, and then you had Riley Tanner out wide looking for opportunity. She saw Beardsley off her line and put it in the back of the net right over her head.
Alabama drawing first blood with 25:48 to play here in half number one. And we'll take a look at the replay. Take us through it, Tatum. A lot of bodies thrown in there.
Yeah, the clearance just goes out. Beardsley was probably off her line a little bit after that first clearance. And Tanner just looks up and sees the opportunity inside of her foot. And finesse finish there by Alabama.
Yeah.
She's practiced that a time or two, I can promise you that.
And for Riley Tanner, her second goal this year, 5th of her career. And put it in a great spot. Good effort there for Beardsley. Ruby Hellstrom in the lineup here for Georgia. Bulldogs trying to push ahead, but Alabama again flipping the field. It's Tanner. Now Georgia back the other way. Race here for McKenzie. She won't win this one. It'll be number 3, Steer. Great leg by Crone.
And if you see Riley Tanner, she's already pinched all the way into the middle of that diamond. And then Felicia Knox will just pop right outside. So there's so much fluid movement with the midfield of Alabama.
That back end, again, so good with Pickard 6 and Reyes 16. But with the hair there with the 1-6 and the 6 are like these clones back there on the back end.
They do look very similar.
And so tough and talented. Host of players right at midfield. Boyan, Georgia trying to get it to Washington. Boyan stepping in again. Dogs with Millie Filson. Working this one out wide to Ruby Hellstrom. And an easy save there for Crone. Alabama, we talked to Wes Hart yesterday, and one of the things he was very proud of was, as you said, Tatum, you can never catch your breath against this team. They got so many weapons from all over the field. Another long run coming here for Alabama. Knox taking the shot. A couple of Georgia bodies in front. So the Dogs will try and turn it with McKenzie. Georgia in white.
The problem is Georgia just defended, so it's tough to get so many players forward.
Here's Stout. Stout trying to go across the field for Boyan, and Alabama will turn it back. A header there from Gilbert. Gilbert through traffic. Haugen now. Haugen trying to step forward. Skorka doing a nice job. And here she comes. Let's talk about number 14, Gianna Paul.
And I was just about to say Haugen just played that ball to bounds. She's probably a little tired already, and Gianna Paul just entered the game.
Oof. No drop off there for sure. Paul with 4 goals and 3 assists. Just a freshman, and how about it, 5'10". And she's asking for it right away. A couple of Bulldogs converge on it. Morgan Hart, that Georgia back line of Stout, Hart, Harden, and Haugen. Trying to get it to Paul again. This time it's Harden, freshman on freshman. That would lay it up. And here's Gianna Paul just outside of the box. Hall with great footwork, serving this one towards the middle. Bama, relentless pressure. Parker, Skorka. And Alabama will reset. Steer. Every player for Alabama across the center line. Knox. Boyan stepping right in front.
Great defending by Boyan there. Just pure athleticism, just pure effort there.
Steer to Clem. Reyes. Pickard. There's Pickard. Reyes out wide on the left side. On the attack again, 5 goals. That's just unheard of for a left outside back. Paul. McKenzie will head that one.
problem is, look how many players of Georgia are behind the ball right now. Look how many players are in their defensive third. So when and if they're able to get a hold of this ball,
here's Paul, one knocked away.
They're going to have to keep it to move it up the field. They're not going to be able to just continue to clear it like they just did, because Alabama's just going to come right back down.
And now all of a sudden Georgia Bulldogs behind. You just feel like you're playing defense the whole time. And with this kind of pressure, hard to keep that up, and a whistle. So Alabama with a 1-0 lead. Riley Tanner with a goal for the Crimson Tide with 25:48 to play here in half number one. Now 21 minutes to play in the first half. Alabama keeping the pressure on the Bulldogs. Well, you know, a game like this is going to go through a lot of momentum swings. And Tatum, you get the feeling this is a point in the game where Georgia just needs to hang on here, keep that deficit at 1. And you just got to, if you're in the Bulldog shoes, turn the tables at some point.
Yeah, they're just unable to clear the ball and clear it to any type of possession.
Boy, there's another shot here for Alabama, and the Crimson Tide tacking on another one. Let's see, is there a call? Do we have it offsides?
I did not. Okay, no, I think it was a push in the box.
Okay, so no goal.
Maybe Macy Clem pushed off before she headed the ball into the back of the net.
And you'll have to bear with us, but when we look down to our right where this goal is, the sun is right in our faces.
Oh, okay, so yeah.
There you go.
So
Good
she
call,
pushed Ellie
Tatum.
Gilbert off of her so she could then get up and go get the header.
So no goal.
No goal.
1-0 Bama. Here's Paul. Paul, nice footwork. Pass a bit behind Parker, and Georgia will turn it.
Now, can Georgia keep it long enough
Here's a window
to get into the attack?
You got 4 Bama, now 5 Bama defenders getting back as Filson races the right side. Here's Washington.
Now, can Georgia just take a breather, take a breath? Can you get some players up the field? You're going to have to get your outside backs into the attack, which you see Haugen in. Stout's having to stay back here to defend with Parker.
Yeah, Georgia's got 2 players marking Parker. Boyan with a header. Boy, a chance here for Georgia, and a nice play by Crone. Good instincts.
This is where, if you're Georgia, you have got to stop the attack from Alabama. You cannot let them out of the box.
Georgia coming right back with Filson. And that one too far, so it'll be Bama's possession.
Once again, can you win this 50-50 ball? Can Ellie Gilbert or Millie Filson win this ball? That's going to be coming out by Crone to then continue to go back and attack the Alabama back line.
There's Georgia, Madison, Haugen, Paul giving chase, and Paul, for at least a moment, able to take it away, getting physical as Paul goes right to the Georgia bench, and Coach McAlpine will help her up. Again, these programs on the rise, for as great as they are on the gridiron, the last 2 national champions, I mean, these soccer programs traditionally, over the last few years at least, have been in the bottom part of the conference. Oof. But certainly making their way up.
And here's what's so hard for a Jeff Dantzler to understand, that as successful as these 2 programs' football teams are, that doesn't mean that a women's soccer player wants to come play here because of how successful their football team is. Now, does it help a little bit? Does it help more than others? Yes. However, they want to go to a program where they can compete for a national championship.
One of the things that that Kadani and West both talked about as well, that certainly beyond the obvious of the financial, it helps getting kids on campus. You know who Georgia is, you know who Alabama is. And he was funny too, and he said, again, just talking about from Alabama's standpoint, as we take a look at the foul, said, hey, for a lot of the players' dads here, like, oh my gosh, well, I get to go to an Alabama-LSU game or a Georgia-Tennessee game, we're there.
Sure, and that was kind of how we had to do it at Alabama at first was, hey, you want to come to a football game? You know, when Saban's there, and you can get the kid out there, and then you got to sell her from there. But it is helpful when you're comparing to some mid-majors, maybe like a Lipscomb. Someone out in California doesn't know where Lipscomb's located, or Samford. They're both in phenomenal cities. They're both beautiful campuses. But Joe Blow out in Colorado doesn't know where they're located. They've heard of them, but they don't know where they are. Now, the University of Alabama, the University of Georgia, any team in the SEC, people know where they are, right?
Yes. So Repka tries to step in there for Bama. Now here's Georgia. But McKenzie doesn't have a lot of help nearby, so Georgia will have to go in reverse with 16, Ellie Gilbert. Gilbert to the right of the circle. Oh, Filson stepping out. There's Crone again. Great read.
Yes, great look by Ellie Gilbert. Great run there by Millie Filson. And that's what Georgia needs, is just a little bit of momentum swing here.
And here's another one by Gilbert. She's having a big game, but Alabama able to get it right back.
Because once you allow Alabama to possess, it is very difficult to get out of the swing of things with them. It's very difficult to keep the pressure down.
Can Washington get to this one for Georgia? No. Whistle.
That one looked close to me. I would love to see that on the replay.
Even though Steer was ahead. I'm about ready for this sun to get
Looks
down
like
below
they
the
called
trees,
offsides
by the
there
way.
on Joelle Washington, so I'm wondering how tight that was. The fans don't seem to be too keen on the call.
Pleased with that. Yeah, that sun over to our right where Bama's attacking. It's a tough view. Here's Bama. Tanner, who's got the goal. Filson, Hellstrom. Hellstrom would bounce it up high. How about that toe poke? Like Pickard and Reyes on the back end. Washington again trying to get out front. Washington stumbles, and here comes Bama.
There's Boyan. I mean, she is just that toe poke.
It's her
Whew.
trademark.
I mean, today so far it has really stopped some of Alabama's attacks, which has helped keep the momentum in their way.
All right, Tatum, in person now. Florida State reigning national champions. They've won 2 of the last 4 national titles and made it to 3 of the last 4 title games. Came in here and beat Georgia 3-1 in a great game. 30 minutes into this one, who's the best team Georgia's played so far this year?
I'm just going to be honest. I had kids over on the hill during the Florida State game. I paid attention to about 13 seconds. So
from those 13 seconds?
I'm unsure. I will say this. When I turned on and watched Alabama play South Carolina a few weeks back, I was absolutely blown away by the way that Alabama played together, the type of goals they scored, the type of opportunities they had. I had never seen South Carolina be so dispossessed in years. I'm not saying they haven't, but I have never seen a team beat a program like South Carolina as bad as this team beat South Carolina. And it wasn't a one go. You know, they beat Clemson 3-0.
Beat BYU.
And you see it here. I mean, can they be beat? Of course, anybody can be beat, but they're extremely difficult to defend and so far to score on as well.
Aislinn Streisig and Kat Rogers both into the Alabama lineup, and there you see that record against the top 25, just magnificent. And it's also the margin of victory. That's 8-2 against Clemson, BYU, and South Carolina.
Right.
8-2. Wow. Here's Stout.
And mind you, top 20.
How about that off the heel from Rogers?
Top 25 teams are one thing. 2 of those teams were 5 and 6. Those are top 10.
Top 10s. 2 top 10s. That is poked out there by Clem. 13:22 to go, first half. Alabama leading Georgia 1-0. Great game. Alabama, for the 18th time, we'll say it, just keeping the pressure on. Nice play by Kate Harden for Georgia. Ellie Gilbert touches that one out. Bama with the possession. The wind is really kicking up. Blake Hines, our producer, and Beth Ann Nesbitt doing a great job with the various shots. We got the sun and the wind, but luckily, I think very wise to move this game up. And no rain here today, but that wind is whipping around. In fact, Old Glory by the video board over here was just pointing straight up for a second. As Boyan touches that one for the Bulldogs. Dogs with Rebecca Womer in the lineup, and Womer had her first goal against Florida. Paul could have a crack at this one. Beardsley off the left foot, just trying to not give Paul an opportunity. McKenzie goes back to Stout, loses possession. Parker. McKenzie stepping in. Stout with the left foot. Bama again. Kat Rogers, Skorka, Stout. Skorka and Stout in the corner, and great defense there from Cecily Stout. And a little frustration. Did she just hit our camera operator down there?
Here's the thing. What you don't realize is what a great play this was by Morgan Hart. Do you see how she's just able to get a little toe poke in there to try and play it to Beardsley? I'm telling you, it very likely could have been a goal there. She's so smart on that back line, especially this is only her, 11th game so far this season in the back line. And what she's just able to do just tactically to read the game and to know the decision to be made in a split second.
Cecily Stout making her 80th career start, 8-0. She's 80 for 80 in games played and games started. Here's Knox. Oh, Knox really plays it to herself. All right, let's see. Camera operator. Tatum, take us through this. Evan, heads up. Boom. Did not flinch at all. Great work, Evan.
Those abs of steel, buddy.
Yes. I think I'm still having lower back problems when I made that kick back preseason practice. Tatum said, don't do it. No, I gave one a pretty good whack. Honestly, didn't realize how hard the ball is.
Tried to tell you.
I know.
Tried to tell you.
I'm a better talker than a listener. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
He good.
Attaboy, Evan.
He good.
All right, a couple of subs for Bama. Checking in number 27, Sydney Vincennes out of Mandeville, Louisiana. 3 career goals, got 1 this season. So a total of 28 players on these 2 teams have scored goals.
Jeez.
That's pretty awesome.
It is. Yeah, it's pretty
Just
impressive.
going through, and if I'm off by 1, don't sue me. I got 15 for Georgia and 13 for Bama. That is a bunch of different kids putting the ball in the back of the net. Here's Knox again from the left corner.
Now, Mally McKenzie's going to have her hands full because she is one-on-one marking Riley Parker. Or she was. She looks like she no longer is.
Here's Knox.
Currently, no one is marking Riley Parker.
Well, let's see if they look that way to number 10.
And now no one is marking Raina Reyes.
Again, pick your poison.
I mean, they're in a bit of a zone.
With a nice serve up off the side of the net. Goal kick here for the Bulldogs. And that wind. It's like a Wrigley Field day. If you're a hitter, you want it blowing out. If you're a pitcher, you want it blow it in. Beardsley.
Great win by Kat Rogers.
Kat Rogers, number 15. She's out of Prosper, Texas. So we haven't talked much about her. 7 career goals, 16 career assists. She's got 6 assists this year, comes off the bench. Their numbers are pretty staggering. Here's Paul. Oh. Rogers, the middle of that one. Georgia with Tori Penn, 31, into the lineup. Dogs racing down the left side with McKenzie. Bama back defensively.
Abby Boyan is busting it to get down, to get on the other side of this.
Great job by Alabama on the back end. Brooke Steer able to step in front. Here's Madison Haugen, had 2 assists in Gainesville last Sunday. Boyan. And McKenzie and Hellstrom on the outside. Now here's Haugen again. Trying to get it to Hellstrom, and she can't quite make the high leg kick.
You never know how quick that ball's coming in. From here, you wonder if Hellstrom could have maybe got her chest on it, or maybe just was able to bring it down or redirect with her head. Because the leg in the air is never as successful as we hope.
That's tough. There's a little poke away by Boyan, but possession will go to Alabama.
And once again, it's much easier said from up here sitting in the booth than down there where I would have had to move my feet.
Well, you were an all-ACC standout for Clemson. They talk about Tatum in the same breath with Sammy Watkins and Trevor Lawrence. Here's Bama.
Not even close.
Parker, bit of a tumble and a stumble there. Rebecca Woman, point Georgia's way. All right, 7 minutes to go. Bama's been on the attack the whole game, and I'm sure Kadani McAlpine for the Bulldogs not thrilled with that. But the way Bama's playing, to be down by just one right now, probably feels like that deficit's a little larger.
Well, and here's the other thing. Georgia has had some opportunities, some incredible opportunities, no. But have they kept the ball a bit? Yes. Have they been able to get into the box a few times? Yes. It's not like they're sitting back there and they've defended their tails off for 45 minutes. So if you're Georgia and you can get into halftime, either tying it up, of course, would be your first choice, or going in at 1-0 with taking the momentum the last 6 minutes, they're going to feel good coming back out at after half.
Sometimes just hang around, survive, then thrive. Stout will go right to the keeper, number 1, McKinley Crone out of Maitland, Florida. As Tatum mentioned, 3 years at Oklahoma, 3 years at Alabama. She is familiar with the color crimson.
6 full years. I want to play 6 full years.
You've been in both of those places.
I sure have. I was going to say, today felt just like Norman, Oklahoma weather. 20-mile-an-hour winds, that's daily. No big deal.
Here's Reyes. Alabama. So many pieces. Knox spinning Parker.
True.
Knox gets tripped. Another whistle. And you can see there, Tatum, their top 2 offensive threats. Knox and Parker had that 2-player game going. There's a yellow card.
He's trying to calm it down a bit, keep it from getting scrappy. Of course, nobody wants anybody to get injured. But that's where Knox is so good, with the ball at her feet. I mean, going at players, dribbling at players. Coach Wes Hart talked about how much better she got at that in the spring, just dribbling at players, which then opens up all these other opportunities and all these passing lanes, which then she usually finds.
Here's Knox.
You know, Sydney Vincent, who just came into the game, she's no short little stack there. I mean, she's got to be sitting at, what, 5'10"?
6 feet.
Holy cow.
Knox looking for her 12th assist. Oh, and she just might get it as Beardsley coming out. The Dogs again dodge a bullet. Beardsley with a gamble, but Bama Tatum couldn't get the clean strike. And a couple of subs. Take us through this, Tatum, with Beardsley. Roll of the dice.
Yeah, I am no goalkeeper coach. However, I think she should have stayed on her line, allowed her defenders to go up and at least try to win that first ball, because what does happen is it could have hit off any of those 6 number of heads and gone into the wide open goal.
Including some friendly fire
Correct.
there. Here's Walmer for Georgia. A little physical. And Steer called against Torrey Penn, number 31.
It's funny because both teams, when there's a foul, scrappy foul, they're both throwing their arms in the air.
McKenzie. It's a header out by Steer. All of a sudden, number 3, Brooke Steer from Dexter, Michigan, making some plays. Jada Gibson. There's 8 for Georgia. Bama. Now McKenzie for Georgia, just trying to keep it alive. McKenzie down the left side for the Bulldogs. Serving this one up for Boyan. Towards the middle, Bama.
And Boyan saw it, but Womer, she just moved her run. She chased the ball instead of reading and knowing what Boyan was going to do there. McKenzie is able to beat her defender, play a great ball into the box. Abby Boyan sees what is available, what is open. One times it back to Womer. However, Womer comes off her spot there. If you see here, she would have just backed up there. Boyan was trying to play it right back into the box. It could have been a nice, easy one-time goal.
Well, the deal now, you talked about this a couple minutes ago, that might have been Georgia's most complete possession. You know, the first stop to slowing down an offensive juggernaut like this, you got to put the pressure on them to defend. And that was a good run at that by Georgia with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, the best way to not to defend is to keep the ball.
Correct.
First half.
And here's a captain obvious. You talk about these final couple of minutes here, but you know, for Georgia, you do not want to get loose defensively at all and give Bama that opportunity to extend this thing to 2-0.
And here's what's been impressive, too, in this last few minutes of this game is the thought of McKinley Crone. her in that role back there, she is very much, yes, she is a field player, of course. However, she's a goalkeeper. But the way that Alabama uses her to possess and get their attack started,
she's got a big leg, too.
Yeah, and she's used way more than I had imagined in the way that I really saw it. And it's just, it adds another player on the field.
Allie Burke, a 5'4" senior out of Atlanta, in the lineup here. Bulldogs with just over 2 minutes to go will make a run down the left side with number 11, Rebecca Wilmer. Wilmer trying to lead that one off to Penn. She won't be able to get there. It'll be steering it to Crone.
And they're not playing the ball back for Crone to just get rid of it. No. They're playing the ball back for then Crone to then play the next ball forward to get into the attack.
Nice little touch there from Paul. Allie McKenzie ahead to Stout. Crowd pleasers throughout the game thus far this evening. Paul again with a foot race against McKenzie, two of the fastest players on the pitch. Pardon me, that is number 29. That's Morgan Hart. Hart playing well.
And here's the deal. Is Paul going to beat Hart in a foot race? Most likely. But Hart is doing such a good job of closing the angles and getting her body in between the ball and the player, and is not really allowing Paul to have that opportunity to beat her at a 1v1 race opportunity.
Cecily Stout, Bama. You just get the feeling here, the Crimson Tide on the attacking end. And go all out to try and make it 2-0. And Stout doing a great job getting the body in front. And a goal kick here for the Bulldogs. Excellent first half. Alabama with a goal from Riley Tanner. Just over a half minute to go. Beardsley in no hurry here for Georgia. Not quite to midfield. Vincennes for Alabama. Here's Paul trying for a high leg kick, and holy moly, from distance. Talk about a strike there from Kat Rogers.
And she just saw where Beardsley was again. These attackers, these midfielders for Alabama, they are always looking up. Hey, do I have an opportunity to score a goal? She looked up and saw Beardsley just a bit off her line and over to the side, and she thought, hey, why not? I mean, why not give this a go?
Beardsley will get this one past midfield. The clock will strike.
Energy Hunt. He talks about how the attack feeds off the defensive pressure. So he keeps talking about they have good players who are making big plays.
All right, 15 seconds. Kadani McAlpine, what's he telling his troops?
Whew. Well, probably play as a team, play as a unit. They are continuing to grow in each game. You got to find a little bit more grit. And can we grow from the first half to the second half? Can we possess a little bit more? Can we attack as a unit? They can't give those balls away like they did in the first half where they were just dumping them over the back line. You're not going to be able to score against this veteran back line of Alabama just by dumping balls in behind.
It is a beautiful night here in Athens. Temperature, according to my trusty iPhone, sitting at 70 degrees with a wind advisory. So here's Georgia with possession to start half number 2. 17-on-17, Henderson and Haugen. And there's Harden, that one going out of bounds, and immediately it's Bama. We'll see Reyes. What color are those shoes? That's kind of the tennis ball, yellow, green. What do you think there with Reyes? You're a fashionista. What do you got?
Usually that would make my stomach turn a bit, but if she's going to score 5 goals and play the way she's played, wouldn't care what color shoes she was wearing.
And here's Abby Boyen for Georgia. Spring Lake, New Jersey. They just contest everything. Knox. I think you said it best, and I'm sure many teams have done this through the years with practices. It can feel like Alabama's got 15 players on the field. Haugen. And one thing, too, for Georgia, I think the Bulldogs did an excellent job on Riley Parker, but if you're going to put a lot of energy towards her, it's going to open up the field for other players. And Parker's also one of those players where you're worried if you're playing Alabama. Well, she's been kind of quiet tonight. Then all of a sudden, boom.
And she has been quiet tonight, to be completely honest, which might be a little scary. Other players have done what they have done, but she hasn't been as dominating as she has been so far this season. But that's going to happen. You know, Riley Parker is not going to be the best player on the field the entire season, but Alabama has lots more players. Felicia Knox, Riley Tanner. Ashlyn, tell me how to pronounce that last name.
Number 19, Ashlyn Serepka.
Serepka.
Think about the Pacino classic Serpico.
Serepka.
Serepka.
That doesn't even count there, Brooke Steer. Brooke Steer was an attacking player, and when they were going into preseason, they were a little concerned about, you know, their center back positions if someone got injured, if someone got hurt.
And of course, what happens? You have
Yes.
an injury, and Steer slides right in. I thought she had an excellent first half.
First day of preseason, they say, hey, we're going to train you at center back. And I was laughing because, listen, if you're an attacking player and you're told, hey, you're going to play center back, you're going to play 90 minutes a game. Yes, sir. Got it. What do you want me to do?
Georgia trying to circle some bodies back as Alabama with Felicia Knox. She is all over the place. Knox for Parker. So skilled, Parker, with about a 270-degree turn there. That just made my right hip hurt. Reyes with those shoes. Here's Haugen able to step in front of number 12, Riley Tanner, who has a lone goal of the game thus far. Georgia trying to get something going. That one a shade behind Washington from Murguia. And here's Alabama again driving in with Kate Henderson. Bama just with numbers. Serepka against Stout. Stout, excellent defense by the senior.
Great defending there by Stout. Unfortunately, just giving Alabama corner is dangerous enough.
All right. What's the final score of this game? You don't even have to tell me who's going to win. Unless it's a 0 for Georgia, it'll be pretty obvious.
2-1.
Okay. I picked 3-2 before the game.
I think I said 3-1 before the game, didn't I? Still could be 3-1.
Okay. Mathematically
I hate when you ask me
possible.
that.
That's why I do it.
I know.
Here's Knox from the corner.
I don't like to be wrong.
Beautiful, and a nice save from Beardsley in traffic. That was well executed on both sides. And you see Bama just keeping the pressure on number 17, Henderson, not relenting right there in front. And Beardsley does not get her full foot into that one as Murguia and Boyan and Reyes. And now here's Tanner. Tanner for Knox. Skorka. Beardsley. What a beautiful night here in Athens. Let's catch this save here, Tatum. Take us through it.
Beardsley just goes up and commands the ball, which is what you want from your goalkeeper. I mean, luckily it was hit right at her, but she was able to go up, hold on to it cleanly, and bring it down.
Yeah, Bama with a couple of players there. Tatum, if that's not a clean catch.
Sure.
That is, that was off the forehead there, Parker. Oh, and here's a nice move there by number 17, Kate Henderson, and the save from Beardsley.
And that's what kind of Alabama will do. They talk about when they lose it to hunt it back down, to keep whatever they can do, body parts, anything they can do to keep the ball from coming back out at them. And that's what they're trained to do, and they're very good at it.
Here's Boyan for Haugen. Murguia racing ahead for the Bulldogs, and that one going right in between Murguia and Gilbert. And here's Parker.
Haugen almost had too many options, which she hasn't had this entire game, but she's still got to try to just find feet and keep it.
Reyes and Murguia. Pickard. There's Stout stepping in front. Pardon me, that's Washington for Georgia.
And you can
number
hear
12.
Coach McAlpine yelling, go, 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 go. If you let them out, if you can pin them on one end, you're going to have a much better opportunity, because if Alabama plays out of it, they're going to goal.
Tatum, I want to point this out to Danny Murguia, fantastic player for Georgia, 4 goals this year, had 9 goals, 11 assists last year. You can tell their defense, they've done an excellent job marking Georgia's number 4. And here's Washington. Here is Murguia with a quartet of Bama defenders. Murguia fires just high.
That's the opportunity they need to have, yes.
Yeah, let's see if that gets her into a bit of a rhythm.
And, you know, Coach McAlpine actually pulled her out. I'm not saying he pulled her in the first half, but she just wasn't able to get anything out of it, and it's happening again now, subbing Ruby Hellstrom in maybe to bring Murguia back in a little bit. But that's what they need to see, is some sort of opportunity, some sort of momentum switch.
That was an impressive strike. So Hellstrom, the transfer from the University of Washington, has 1 goal this season, scored 8 for the Huskies in her career in Seattle. There's a whistle. So it's Alabama with a 1-0 lead. I wonder if McGee might be a little banged up. I don't know. Here's Haugen. 2 Bama players right there. That's a terrific job by Tanner. Boyan with a forearm shiver. Channeling my inner Tony Schiavone there.
I'm sure I was the same, but you just took your arm and threw a player down.
Yeah, once you extend.
No, I'm assuming that was probably a foul there, but that nice little put, I mean.
Physical.
Heat of the moment, like it.
Love it. A lot of whistles.
He's about to, yeah, he's had it with Abby Boyan.
Abby Boyan getting the yellow card. Boyan, graduate, Spring Lake, New Jersey. The start for her tonight. 83rd of her career at 83 games. Yeah.
I'm not even sure that was a foul there. I think there's a little bit of Riley Tanner.
I think that's just playing. They just bumped into each other.
Correct.
Somebody went down.
Now, he's trying to get it under control, of course. He's trying to clean it up. He's trying to calm her down.
Here's Knox. Knox serving this one up. Boy, here comes Parker. Nearly an OG there for Georgia, but the Dogs able to survive another Bama attack.
And listen, she rarely misses those type of opportunities.
I told you, nearly an on goal there.
That was actually Filson who headed it.
Yeah.
Great job there by Filson. She was able to see where Beardsley was.
And that's her specialty there, Filson. Kadani McAlpine taught, but she is really good in the air. Heading it the right way. Because if that thing's headed just a half an inch off her head the wrong way, here's Bama with another crack, and the Crimson Tide extend.
Listen, those set pieces, I'm telling you.
Lethal.
And not only do they hunt when they lose the ball, they hunt when they have a set piece. And that was just a ball played in by Knox and enough players there.
And Knox is going to come up with her 12th assist of the season. And it's take your pick here with Alabama. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in the box. And we'll see who they're going to officially credit that one with. It could be Steer. It could be Serepka. Serepka, I think, is going to get it. Again, though, you had 6 players right there.
Sure.
And for Serepka, her 4th goal, 9th in her Alabama career, and she had 5 in her final season at Virginia. And can you say a dandy dozen for number 8, Felicia Knox? Her 12th assist.
This is where if you're Alabama, you push, you go, You keep going, keep getting opportunities, keep pushing it. And if you're Georgia, you got to find a way to stop the attack and then keep the ball.
Here's Alabama. And Bama lose possession there.
And now, can you try and connect a few passes? Can you try and slow the game down? Can you try and not necessarily slow the game down, but can you just keep it?
And we've got a substitute. This is Jesse Dunn in for the Bulldogs. And the freshman Harden will leave. And second half, Tatum. You can leave once and re-enter.
Oh, I thought you asked me about Kate Harden. I was like, yes, second half, yes. Substitute rule, we did not go over it in the first half.
Nope.
If you go out of the game in the first half, you may not re-enter. However, in the second half, you may re-enter once. So Kate Harden will be allowed to come back into the game, as well as Danny Margia.
Here's Steer. Skorka. Probably a little bit of frustration for the Bulldogs right now. This Bama team is mighty, mighty impressive. Georgia's got a very good team. And the Dogs are really, really good. You know, 2 of the losses this year, they slipped up at Wake Forest, but in Florida State and South Carolina, 2 of the premier programs in the country. Alabama is excellent. I think this is a deal, too. Wes Hart, he's put all the pieces together, and they're just having that magical year. And when we were talking, God, the days just kind of run together, but it was yesterday morning as Bama comes out on the attack. Georgia will turn it with Rebecca Walmart. I didn't want to say anything to jinx or anything. I said, well, Wes, would you say at this point you're on your way to maybe potentially having the best year. He goes, oh, yeah, this is the best year I've had by far. Didn't hesitate. And, they were really good last year, got the program's first ever NCAA tournament win. And then this year, they've just gone next level.
And he felt like that's where the momentum happened. They had about 3 or 4 games left in the SEC last season that they kind of had to win. They won them. It got them into the NCAA tournament. And then to go and beat Clemson in Tiger Town was a huge victory for the program, as well as the first win in the NCAA tournament for the program. And then he felt like that momentum led them into the spring. They got Riley Parker back from ACL injury, and it's just slowly been building into where they are now, to the point now this program of Alabama, they expect to win every game.
And Parker, you mentioned back from an ACL injury. She had fought back and was probably healthy enough to have played and contributed some last 4 or 5 games, but Coach Hart said they talked about it, and you want to come in and play 10, 12 minutes here or there? Yeah, you can help. Or do you want to have that full season? Is Georgia maybe with a crack right here with McKenzie tried to get it to Washington, and there's Crone. And so all of a sudden now you've got a team that won an NCAA tournament game, and you get a fresh and now back to 100% superstar.
And they
Riley
even
Parker.
talk a little bit about, is she maybe better now than she ever was prior?
Could be.
But
she
that
got
time
9
out,
goals, so
sure.
that's pretty good.
That time sitting out, all those days rehabbing, day in and day out, and coming back stronger than ever.
Here's Jessie Dunn. Dunn was a starter in the back for Georgia a year ago, moving to the midfield this year. Alabama, Macy Clem. Now back for Reyna Reyes. Tanner. Reyes. Alabama is working that clock with Pickard. Header there from Georgia's Ellie Gilbert and Hellstrom, and a whistle. Let's take a look at the season stats there for Riley Mattingly Parker. 9 goals, the assist, or 19 points. That ranks 11th best in the country. Again, the 9 goals tied for 6th best in the NCAA. Again, Bama, when you talk about Parker and Reyes and Knox, these numbers, they're putting these up in the SEC and against BYU and Clemson, an extremely tough schedule. I mean, that would be great if you're playing nothing but mid-majors.
Sure.
But these stats against this schedule. Here's Hellstrom for Georgia, trying to get it ahead to Washington. She and Pickard collide. Georgia wants the whistle, and let's see the call. All right, Tatum, what do you got right here?
I just know I want Pickard on my team.
Yep.
I just want her on my team. I want her on my back line. She's an animal. She is feisty. She wants to win. I do think there was quite a little bit of a foul there.
I think that was.
And once again, I love the what?
Listen, that's one Coach Saban or Coach Smart. That's some excellent free safety play right there. Just getting that shoulder in there, trying to knock that offensive player off track. All right, here are the Dogs. Jessie Dunn will shoot. Georgia in dire need of some offensive punch. Trying for a header. It's loose. And Alabama's got it. Wow, Tanner. Georgia will get it back. Nope. Parker and Haugen off her foot. Like, how about the angles that Tanner and Parker took?
To possess, to get out of their defensive third, to get out of the corner, and now up the field with the throw-in.
Georgia with Washington. Stout, all SEC selection 3 times at the University of Georgia. Steer tracking this one down for Bama. That's where you talk about with Crone starting the offense for Bama. What a leg she has.
And listen, McKenzie even hesitated because they've played that ball so many times and it hasn't gotten through the back line that McKenzie kind of stopped running. And then when it actually got through, she was a little bit stuck.
Skorka against Stout. Skorka spinning. Stout with a brilliant move to take it for Georgia.
But then she just gives it away. That's the problem. Is that now she's just going to have to defend again.
Just under 30 seconds to go, 30 minutes, pardon me, 30 minutes to go here in the game. Don't have to say regulation or second half, just in the game, no overtime. How nuts is it, too? There hasn't been a tie in the league yet.
No.
Which I think is awesome. But having no overtime, not having that safety net.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because how many ties were there last season when there was overtime?
Well, and there was also pre-SEC plays. What, South Carolina's got 3 or 4. But none yet in the SEC. Now that I say that, there are going to be a slew of them here this weekend. 2-0 Alabama leading Georgia. Goals tonight from Riley Tanner and Ashlyn Sarepka. Bama keeping the pressure on the Bulldogs. Here's Sarepka again. Skorka. That one way up high. Bama tried for the header for the corner, just wide. Kate Henderson had a good look at that one.
Woo. It was one of those that was just sitting there so long that she had probably a little bit more time to figure out where that ball was going to end and just to get in. And that's the thing when you're attacking on goal. Any little part of your body you can get to redirect is so difficult for the goalkeeper in the back line.
All right, here's Murguia back for the Bulldogs. Womer out. Haugen out for Georgia. See, is that Lewin coming in? No, that's Gibson, number 8.
I think Georgia might be going into a bit of a different lineup here. I think maybe into a 4-3-3 if I had to presume. That's why they pulled Kate Harden off to give her a few-minute rest, pulled Margia off to give her a few-minute rest, to then put them back in to try to get something going here.
All right, here's Knox for Alabama. Boy, Knox is just so smooth and a great race here. Alabama keeping the pressure on the Dogs as Cecily Stout down. She's quickly back up. Now all of a sudden, again, we talk about these different pieces, Tatum, for Alabama. All of a sudden, here these last 5 minutes, it's been Kate Henderson stepping to the forefront.
And here comes Paul.
Here she comes, just the Energizer Bunny off the bench at 5'10". The SEC Freshman of the Week, 4 goals, 3 assists. Again, that's coming off the bench. Kat Rogers serving this one up. Corner doesn't work that time for the Crimson Tide.
See, that's a completely different look than Alabama's thrown at Georgia so far with that in-swinging left foot that Rogers was able to serve that corner with. It was driven more so than what they've seen from Knox.
2 of the most impressive shots of the night came from Rogers and then Georgia's Boyan from distance. Here's a foot race. Washington for Georgia, Skorka for Alabama. It'll be Washington. Dogs looking for something. And Crone will chase that one down. Wow. Bouncing around back there. Reyes was right there with her to provide an escort. Alabama with a 2-0 lead. Crimson Tide. We showed you those margins of victory against SEC foes. Against the ranked foes. 2-0 over South Carolina, 4-2 over Tennessee, 3-0 over Texas A&M. That would be 9-2, a +7 goal differential in the league.
Currently up 2 right now.
That would be 11-2. Thank you very much. 11-2 through. We've got a yellow card for Alabama. So Bama's outscored the opposition 11-2 through 3.5 SEC games. You start talking about stuff like that, I mean, you might have to go back to some of Florida's all-time elite teams, maybe a couple of South Carolina teams to get a differential like that.
Even if you go back to South Carolina, they're known for their organization, their back line. They were winning games 1-0,
so you might have to go to some of those Florida teams maybe in the late 90s.
Yeah, there was no 4-2 goals. There were no 4-2 games.
Georgia with a crack, but that one sails high off the foot of Jessie Dunn.
The thing is when you have those opportunities and you're down 2-0, of course Taylor Risch wants that one back, but you've got to get over the ball, keep the ball on frame so that you can have those second and third opportunities. It hits off the post. It hits Crone in the head. You never know, but as soon as you fire that ball over the net, it's just wasted.
And Alexis Parker back in for Georgia. Again, Parker did not play in her first 2 seasons in Athens, but has been an outstanding contributor this year for the Bulldogs. Just trying to go with a new look. And I think this is a Kadani McAlpine's a great coach. And this is...
She just got a yellow, I think, earlier.
Wow.
Just got to be careful.
And by the way, this is a time to do it. I mean, if you're down 2-0, yeah, be careful. And there you see Coach Hart just telling her to simmer down a bit. But again, Tatum, if you're down 2-0, if you're going to go with a new look, you might as well do it now.
Sure. And it looks like they did pull Kate Harden back at center back and put Dunn into the midfield, push Margia up a little bit. More of a 4-3-3-like play.
So Parker making her 10th appearance this season. Here's Margia. She's so crafty. Margia again in traffic. Well, Margia took a great shot earlier that went just over the crossbar from, what, about 25, 30 yards?
Yeah, it's just then though she loses the ball because there's 3 Alabama players around her and there's no movement off the ball for her to play to anyone on her team.
Obviously,
so she's trying to hold it and she's trying to possess, but you're being hunted and you have no outlet.
Tell you, obviously you haven't seen everybody this year, but you know, Alabama looks like, and here's a hot take, they're ranked 5th and 3rd on the SEC. They could play with anybody in the country.
You know, I haven't seen a lot of the ACC teams or the Pac-12. I can tell you they're probably one of the best in the SEC, yes. But comparable to the rest of the country, they have to be up there, I would assume. And it's not one player, right?
No.
It's not this U20 national team kid here and U20 national team kid here, which Riley Tanner is going to get called into a Panamanian camp. They think I think it is on her mother's side. So she is going to get called into a camp.
Look at Paul. Look at the wheels there. George able to get possession. Beardsley loses it, a mistaken goal.
And that's a little bit of the difference between Beardsley and Crone right now. And Beardsley's a sophomore. You know, you can't pick it up because when a ball is played back, you can't pick it up. So you do have to possess it with your feet. But you see the difference with Crone. They just kick anything they can back to her, and she's able to play with it.
So here's Alabama with a corner kick. And looking through a lot of posts and the like, I'm assuming that'll be Knox.
Those braids.
Here you go.
Dead giveaway.
I have the obstructed view, but luckily Blake's got the monitor working here. So here's Knox. Header. Bama's still got this thing alive. Georgia's
dangerous.
Teetering. Oh, off the heel from Parker.
Goal.
And it's, oh!
I thought that ball was in.
So close.
I have no idea. It was like there was an invisible wall there. I have no idea how that ball didn't go in.
Boy, Beardsley and the Bulldogs surviving the Alabama attack.
Reyes goes up, and then it goes
Oh, I love
back heel by
that
Tanner.
one there from Parker.
I mean, back here by Parker. Sorry, that's the one I thought was in. I still don't know.
Beardsley's
I think Beardsley.
go gadget,
I
just
think she
extend
did.
her arm about 5 feet. It's a great save.
I think she did because I thought Brooke Steer had a goal.
And again, you're Georgia. You try and catch your breath right now, but it's 2-0 Alabama, and here they are with possession again. Just staying on the attack. Parker, Rogers, done for Georgia. Parker tried to step up for the Bulldogs. Alexis Parker. See if McKenzie can make a run at it for Georgia. Trying to get it to Joyelle Washington behind Parker. Done for the Bulldogs. Cat Rogers. Rare miscue there by the Tide. It is 2-0 Alabama. Goals from Riley Tanner in the first half and Ashlyn Sarepka here in the second. Alicia Knox with her 12th assist to extend her NCAA lead in that category. Gibson, Parker, something came flying off. Is that maybe a hair tie, wristband? What do you think?
I think it was a hair tie.
Okay. There's Jada Gibson, number 8 for Georgia. San Diego, she's a freshman. It's going to be done instead. The Dogs going to have a chance to catch Alabama. Georgia's really got to get moving. Bama's played a splendid game here tonight. Dunn serves that one up. A header there from Parker. Pretty good look from Georgia. Just Bama so good down on that back line. And now they'll go on the attacking end. And Georgia's got a really good team as Crone steps forward. Another thing you can see with Alabama, Tatum, they play with a tremendous amount of confidence.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because, Coach McAlpine was talking about that. When South Carolina came in to play them last week, they expected to win the game, right? And that's what he's wanting his program to grow from, to start expecting to win instead of playing against South Carolina and like, oh, I hope they're kind of down this year, or I hope we do okay.
There's one way to go from hoping to win to expecting to win.
Winning.
You got to win. Yeah, that's easier said than done.
And you know what is interesting with both of these programs? Winning helps with recruiting.
Of course.
Coach Hart was saying they've got some pretty big time phone calls here in the last few weeks, which I am interpreting as some big time commitments.
Oh, both of these teams play a fun style too. I mean, Tatum, you went through this and you said, hey, everybody wants to start, everybody wants to play 90 minutes, kids want to score goals, and I think both of these teams, as we said, a combined 28 players with goals scored, and kids realize they can get an opportunity to succeed and thrive at both Georgia and Alabama. Gibson out for McKenzie, and Bama can't quite keep it in play with Reyna Reyes. You talk about just a bundle of energy.
Fiery.
Here's Boyan for Dunn. Gibson. Parker trying to keep it alive here for the Dogs. Dunn. Here's Boyan, and Bama takes it away. Parker trying to get that one out. Georgia dodges a bullet. Paul was streaking. Gibson trying for Boyan.
It's a great run there by Boyan Gibson. You just have to play that ball in front of her.
McKenzie out wide. Cecily Stout pressing ahead. Stout out deep trying to get it to Gibson. Now McKenzie. Reyes giving chase. McKenzie against Reyes. Couple of steps. Bama will try to turn it back the other way. Bulldogs in the box now with Boyan. Back out for Gibson. And this one's loose. Georgia is on the board.
And that's why you put the ball in the box. You never know what can come of it. That type of possession from Georgia, that group attack, that is what led to that goal. Yes, own goal, but all the effort by McKenzie, by Boyan, by Alexis Parker, some big-time balls played in the box there, which is what led to this goal. Just miscommunication by Alabama. 2-1. It's a whole different ball game.
So Clem and Crone just Tatum that moment of indecisiveness, and Georgia capitalizes. Give Gibson a lot of credit, though, for playing it in.
Well, not only Gibson, but Parker there. She did a tremendous job playing that type of target player. When balls were played into her, she was able to keep it and possess it. That's what Georgia hasn't been able to do so far this game. They just completed and possessed about, 6-7 passes together.
And yeah, McKenzie, as you mentioned in the middle of that, give Kadani McAlpine a lot of credit there. He knew his team needed to get on the board, try something new, and he did. You mentioned Parker. Here comes Gibson, and all of a sudden the Dogs are within one goal. Boy, what a game here tonight. And now we all know Uncle Mo is mighty fickle, and now it's on Georgia's shoulders.
There's a lot of time left.
A lot of
which
time.
Can go either way.
Yes, it could.
However, the momentum.
3-2, looking a little better. Dunn serving that one up, trying to get it for Parker. So were you officially 2-1 or 3-1?
No, I was officially 3-1.
Okay.
I started at 2-1.
Well, here's Paul on the run for Alabama, number 14, like a gazelle inside the box. Paul with a step through a double team, and Georgia.
Well done, Hart.
Wow. Number 29, Morgan Hart. Boy, Paul, how fluid is she running? And Georgia wanted a whistle, and the Dogs get a whistle. Well, this game has had everything you could ask for. Tremendous skill, great pace and tempo on both sides. And Tatum, it's getting physical.
Look
too.
how well Hart does to close the space and then to get down and low and move her feet. Because a lot of times a defender comes flying out, and all Paul has to do is take one little touch to move the ball, and she's going to goal. But Hart was able to close the space and then slow her feet down and get between the ball and the goal.
Just a beautiful night here in Athens. Purple skies over the Jack Turner complex. Yeah, the on goal there, making it 2-1. There you see the crescent moon.
Beautiful. Fall has arrived.
There'll still be a couple days where it gets high.
At least not 94.
Hope that's gone. All right, here's Georgia with Beardsley. Bama with a 2-1 lead, 16 minutes to play. 50-50 ball. Alabama in the crimson, Georgia in the white. An on goal cutting Bama's lead in half. Skorka tried to serve that one ahead. Here comes Riley Parker. The 10.
The 10.
Bama, so many pieces off the heel from Kat Rogers. By the way, I really like her as well. And that's one of those, I'm going to throw it on basketball term at you. Say the second player off the bench. You'd say,
man.
well, they're probably like number 7 or so on the team. You feel like Rogers is, say, number 13 or 14. And look at her numbers this year. She's got 6 assists, 7 career goals. So Haugen back in for Georgia. This Bama team is deep and talented. They play with confidence and they play together. A bit jarred facing the adversity from that own goal. Still with the lead. Bama trying to push that lead back to 2. Georgia looking for the equalizer. Oh, love that from Steer. Bama. Number 13, Mariana Nest. Gibson on the back end.
You know, Gibson's been impressive as well because she hasn't received a ton of minutes as a freshman on that back line, and she has stepped right in and really done some great things on the attacking and defensive side of the ball.
Here's Paul. Might be earning herself a few more minutes. Good job by Morgan Hart.
Yeah, don't be fooled. Just because you don't start doesn't mean you don't get plenty of minutes.
For sure. Here's Parker.
Especially in that attacking role.
14 minutes to go. Alabama 2 and Georgia 1. Off the chest of Reyes. Look out. She's got 5 goals this year. Reyes. A little bit behind Rogers. Now Reyes. Beardsley with a diving save. What a strike, and it had some wiggle.
And that's where Reyes will get you. I didn't see that coming. Beardsley luckily did because she made a phenomenal save. I mean, look, just a nice little touch. I thought she was about to play a ball into the box. No. She's going to strike it. With the yellow, left-footed.
Liz Beardsley.
Big time save.
Coming with a top hand.
Now, this is where you have to be careful. You have to be ready for the second opportunity and the third opportunity.
And this is the second time it's been Rogers serving it in off the corner kick.
More
Rogers
driven.
With the left foot. It's just lurking out there. Bama with a crack at it, and it's going to go wide. Boy, that one sat out there, I'm sure, from Georgia's standpoint for what seemed like an eternity.
Danger.
Boy, Beardsley just making a sensational play. And here's Bama again from the corner.
See the pushing. If you watch Parker and McKenzie, they're battling.
Fighting for position.
Well done, Alexis Parker.
Getting up high. There's the ferocious competitor, Sasha Pickard, setting that one up. Reyes in the box. Nifty spin move towards the corner.
By the way, that was her.
High.
That was her right foot. The previous opportunity was her left foot.
What a player. So one of the things, too, about Alabama, Parker up front, Knox, again, the straw that stirs a drink in the middle, Reyes on the back end. They've got the All-American caliber player, Tatum, at all 3 levels.
That's right, and they have you have veterans at all 3 levels. I mean, you have a 6th-year player in goal.
Yes.
You've got a grad student, married grad student, as your attacking player.
Oh, look at this one setting up. Maybe, just maybe here for Georgia, but Alabama, that is a great job by number 2, Macy Clem.
And you know, both Clem and Gilbert have done such phenomenal roles in that number 6 role, just playing that defensive center mid, winning balls in the air, keeping the team from attacking, cleaning up messes. They have both been tremendous.
Under 12 to go, Alabama 2 and Georgia 1 on a beautiful night here in Athens. Kicking off another huge SEC sports weekend as we close the door on September and turn the calendar to October. And that was nicely done by Miss Tanner, and then a stumble and a foul on Dunn.
You know, now that I'm seeing it, Coach Hart talked about how many fouls Riley Tanner
draws. Yeah. A lot of that.
I've seen a lot of that tonight.
I think in any sport that goes for being able to change your pace nicely. Kind of like when Maverick slams on the brakes. Here's Tanner, speaking of, down in the corner against Georgia's Gibson. Gibson pokes that one away. As Tatum mentioned, Gibson giving Georgia some good looks.
And look, Riley Tanner, this is what she does. She realized, hey, I'm not going to be, I had my opportunity the first time. She toe poked, you know what, I'm just going to earn a corner. No big deal.
And Sarepka and Rogers exchange spots. And this will be Knox from the left corner. A little lean out of the box. Bama with a corner kick and a 2-1 lead. Knox serves it up. Tanner back for Knox. Knox against Hellstrom inside the box. What a move. Tanner. Bama dangerous here. This one's going to sail high.
And Hellstrom did a good job of not just trying to stick a toe poke in there, and Felicia Knox being so good with the ball at her feet and so good dribbling would have easily earned a PK. She saw that she had some defenders able to step up and help her defend.
Beardsley for the Bulldogs. Oh, here's Ruby Hellstrom for Georgia against Skorka, but Bama just so quick. There's help everywhere for the Crimson Tide.
You don't have long to breathe.
No, and when you've got that kind of cohesion, the other thing that can do, Tatum, it lets you gamble a bit more because, you know, you got your teammate right there. Now Bama, well, that's nice there for Georgia. Saved probably about 30 seconds by getting that one at midfield. Bama on the handball.
I think so, and I think it might have been.
Parker. McKenzie for Georgia. McKenzie against Reyes. A trio of Tide defenders converge, trying to leave it just a shade too far for Ruby Hellstrom. Georgia still with possession. Gilbert. Dogs trying to make a drive down the left side now, and this will go out of bounds.
If you have to give a player the match for Georgia right now, it would be Mally McKenzie. The effort that she has put into, I would love to see the catapult results from the yardage she has covered on the attack.
A lot of real estate.
And in the defense, a ton. And that ball she played into Hellstrom was a great ball.
Georgia trying to tie it with a header. It's still sitting out there, but Bama with Tanner going to turn it. It's McKenzie right there and a whistle. It'll go Alabama's way. What a game here tonight.
Whew.
Georgia knocking on the door. Alabama able to withstand that Georgia shot. And it's still 2-1 Crimson Tide. And there you see the ferocious defender, Sasha Pickard, making her 50th career start.
I feel like I could bring her into my house and she could discipline my children in a day.
That's great.
You know what I mean? You think she would come do it? Sasha, you have a day. Get them together.
Just what's your off day?
Monday.
Got a job for
you.
you.
Make them tough. Real tough.
Here's Bama with Knox. Bama, Macy Clem. Sarepka, well, what a game she's had. Paul.
And I'm assuming Sarepka did not, this is her first year. She finished her career at Virginia. So this is her first year with Alabama.
Sarepka, terrific player. You're talking about Sarepka coming over from Virginia, the keeper Crone coming over from Oklahoma. Big-time programs
Riley
here.
Tanner coming from South Carolina.
Yeah, so just stepping right in. And we've talked about this with the portal, with not having to sit out a year. It used to be, any coach would tell you in any sport, you want that mixture of veterans and newcomers. Now you want the veterans and newcomers and the transfer portal. So it's a three-piece recipe now instead of two.
And the grad transfer stuff will stop when COVID, fades out.
The sixth-year players.
Yeah, but it has been such a great thing for kids. I mean, hey, let's go to UVA. Let me get my degree. Let me play in the ACC. And you know what? I'm going to go take a fifth year, and I'm going to go help build Alabama into a powerhouse real quick and make a heck of a run,
Here's Crone, no doubt. That one sails out of bounds. Georgia.
I don't think I've seen her kick it out of bounds.
I know, it was the first time. Georgia scoring on a Bama on goal, cutting the Crimson Tide lead in half from 2-0 to 2-1. A little high there. Georgia just trying desperately. When if you look at Georgia's schedules, you see Tanner and Sarepka with the goals for Bama. Georgia with the own goal. If Georgia could get out of this thing with a tie and have 7 points after going on the road at A&M at Florida and playing South Carolina and Bama at home, you talk about a huge step towards the NCAAs.
Right, and not so much about the 7 points in the conference as it is the RPI, right? They dropped a bit playing Florida because Florida was over 200 in the RPI. Even with a 3-0 win at Florida, you drop in the RPI, which of course is frustrating. But playing a team this high in the RPI, even with a loss, they'll move up. But if you can get a tie or somehow get a win, you will skyrocket.
Alabama with just over 5 minutes to go. Crimson Tide leading Georgia 2-1. See Paul stepping in front. Hart. There she is. Nice touch there from Pickard. Boy, Parker comes charging in, like that aggressiveness. Fresh legs off the bench. Parker playing well. Now here's Bama. There she is. Riley Tanner. Foot race. Paul and Stout, and Beardsley will step out.
And what Georgia did there was move Stout into the middle to deal with Paul a little bit, give Harden a break. You wondered a little bit when it was going to catch up to Harden, freshman center back in this type of a league, and it caught up to her a little bit in this half, just probably pure exhaustion with the amount of yards she's covered. So that's the beauty of why Georgia plays so many players they did in the non-conference, so that they can make adjustments like this and see who can step into these roles, which is what Jada Gibson has done, and you can always move Cecily Stout over, which is what they've done.
Knocks to Parker. Bama would love that knockout blow right here to make it 3-1. Stout for the Bulldogs. Great header there from Steer.
However, if you're Alabama and you're up, 4 minutes to go, are you going to goal or are you going to the corner?
Goal.
That's what you're doing.
Tick, 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 under 4 to go. Yeah, both of these teams love to attack. Georgia with a quick sub. Good minutes there for Parker as Joelle Washington will return for Georgia. Big question, Danny Murguia. And just wonder if she might be a little under the weather, a little bit banged up. I don't know. And Murguia had that rocket shot that sailed just high. Oh, what a play. The Dogs have turned it.
It's Cecily Stout going to get her first career goal ever.
What a crack. Stout fires. Great defense by Alabama. Oh, my goodness.
Do you throw Cecily Stout into the attack?
Pickard, yes.
With 3 minutes to go.
You have to. 4 career assists, no career goals.
She gone.
Pickard with great defense for Bama.
Pickard.
From the corner, Boyan serving it up, and a great save there by Crone. And Pickard with Alabama's defensive moment of the game. Here come the Crimson Tide. That clock, 2:42 to go. Tanner, Hart. Alabama now the attack again with the lead.
They're just going to try to keep it, and I'm telling you, it's going to be tough to get the ball back the way they possess.
There you go.
As technical as they are. Ooh.
Georgia possession. It is a fact that when you're losing, the clock moves faster. When you're winning, the clock moves much slower. Parker for Bama. In a close game. Ellie Gilbert there for Georgia. Number 16's had a fine game, Atlanta native. Has a goal and an assist this year, and her role increasing with the injury to Deja Torbert. Unfortunately, Torbert, who was arguably Georgia's best player, certainly one of the best players in the league, was injured in Georgia's 3-2 SEC opening win at Texas A&M. Torbert had scored in 5 consecutive games for the Bulldogs.
Had a goal and an assist in that game.
And she was the SEC Player of the Week. All right, 90 seconds to go. It is 2-1 Alabama. Let's see if Georgia can make one last run at this thing to try for the equalizer. Stout up high. Washington giving chase for Georgia. Bama so good on that back line. Here's Hellstrom for the Bulldogs. Dogs having to try and force the issue. Clock coming down to 1 minute now, and Clem will just knock it up into the woods. Under a minute to go. 2-1 Alabama. Haugen from the far left side for Boyan. Haugen. And they'll point Alabama's way, and that just might do it. Going to be tough for Georgia to get another crack at it unless Alabama makes a mistake. Here's Boyan trying to get it back for the Bulldogs with 31 seconds to go. All right, here's Georgia.
Go. Everybody needs to get into the box.
25.
Go. I don't know why Cecily Stout, why are you staying back?
23 seconds, 20 seconds. And Georgia's bringing Beardsley up, but the Dogs are running out of time. There's 12 seconds to go. Beardsley serving it up. Georgia trying for a desperation equalizer. Hellstrom in the box. Can Cecily Stout get one off? 3 seconds to go. Washington and Alabama is going to survive. The Crimson Tide comes out on top, 2-1. What a game here tonight.
Listen, this was all that we expected it to be. Alabama is the real deal. Everyone knows that at this point. But this Georgia program, they can compete and they can play as well. Both teams came out, gave everything they had. Alabama had more of the run of play. They had more opportunities. They had more possession. But after this game, both of these teams I would expect to see later on in November.
And I would expect, wouldn't be surprised at least, you talk about November,